I think we both agree that, let's see, the right to life and property is a right that you and I have. This is a right because there's no need for other people whose lives and property are not at risk to take away your property. They can afford for you to live and for you to have property without themselves not having life or property.
I would love it if all humans could get healthcare, but I don't think it's naturally owed to them by any other people.
Okay, young lady, where are we today?
University of Austin.
Positive rights are human rights. How do you interpret that statement?
I interpret that statement to mean that positive rights, such as like positive things for a person, food stamps, healthcare, etc., are human rights, meaning they're naturally owed to every person.
They're naturally owed to every person. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Do you agree with that definition?
Yes.
Okay, positive rights are human rights, move. Wow, interesting. Okay, so you're on agree, neutral, and strong. Okay, pick up the board. Everybody pick up the board. Write the best reason you have for why you're standing there. Stand in the middle of the mat. Write the best reason you have. Don't let anybody see. Okay, I want you to guess, hold it close, yeah. I want you to guess the reason that he has written on the board, and all I'm looking for you is a yes or a no.
I think he has written on his board something on the lines of how if we have these good systems, these positive rights systems, for him would be probably healthcare and food stamps, then that would be better for society as a whole because it's taking care of the other people around us.
Is that correct? Yes or no? Only yes or no?
No.
Okay, guess his reason that he has.
These are not self-evident rights. Rights are something that we have by default. They're given to us by some, be it God or some other like authority, such as like Plato's truth, or rights are something handed down to us by some higher authority. They're not just things that are beneficial.
Is he correct?
He's partially correct. I didn't say.
Is he correct enough to say yes?
I would probably say so.
Okay, show him the reason.
If it requires the labor of another person, it's not a right that you should have.
Okay, I want you to guess his reason that he has on the board.
I don't know what his reason would be.
That's always a good thing. Show him and her your reason, please. Read it.
Rights are not self-evident. They are something that people need to live the bare minimum being whatever society can afford without themselves regressing down to the bare minimum.
Okay. Do you understand his argument?
I don't understand his argument fully.
Okay. Explain to her your argument, please.
For example, let's agree on what is a right. So I believe that, I think we both agree that, let's see, the right to life and property is a right that you and I have. This is a right because there's no need for other people whose lives and property are not at risk to take away your property. They can afford for you to live and for you to have property without themselves not having life or property.
Is that clear?
So rights are only what does not infringe upon others' rights?
No. For example, let's say the right to property infringes on someone else's right to your property.
Okay.
No, we don't want to rush. Is his reasoning clear? Not if you agree, but is it clear?
So a right is something that does not infringe on someone else's right. For instance, me wanting your land would be your right. You only have the land because I don't want your land.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
No, this is tricky. This is how people this is miscommunication all the time. And almost never do we take the time and slow down to figure out what someone's reason is.
Can you define in a clear, one sentence, what human rights are?
Human rights are the bare minimum for a person to live and die a death of like natural causes that you can have without regressing. Like, let's say on your own means, you cannot survive to live to an old age. If someone can give you something, or maybe not give you something, if you can have something that can get you to that point without taking away from someone else's ability to get to that point, or without regressing someone down to to only being able to live to that point, then that is a right.
Is that clear?
Okay, I understand now. Yes.
Okay. Do you understand his reason? Not agree, but do you understand his reasoning?
I think so. I'm trying to comprehend it myself. I think, or is what you're trying to say basically is like, a human right is something that if given to you, then it helps you to continue to live the good life.
if someone who is living a better, like whatever you think better is, if someone that is living a better life than you can give you something that doesn't regress them to a state equal or worse than you, then yes.
Okay, now I have to process that. So I just want to make sure I understand. So like $1 to me is not that much money. So if a homeless guy asks me for $1 and it doesn't harm me in any way, I really wouldn't even notice $1 from my bank account gone. Maybe even 10. I'd notice 20, but so I should give that to the homeless person because it wouldn't infringe upon me?
That dollar wouldn't make their life better.
But they would say it would.
They're wrong. It like doesn't. They're not. It's not going to help them live longer. Yeah, I mean, if you could, let's say you owned 20 houses, and you could give a homeless person a house, that would significantly increase their quality of. Well, maybe that's not. If you owned, I guess homelessness is a deeper problem than just giving someone a house. But let's say you owned 20 homeless person fixing machines, and you can give one of them to a homeless person, then you ought to. So in terms of positive rights, things like healthcare. If you are a heart surgeon who can save someone with heart disease and you can save their life, then you ought to, because you can give someone your talent in exchange to save their life, help them reach that old age.
But that's only because you're a heart surgeon and you ought to do what a heart surgeon does. So that's like true by definition, though.
If you're a hospital with the means to give, if you are a hospital and you have the means to save someone's life, you ought to. And that without if they can't afford it, you ought to save their life anyway. And we already have that. I think hospitals have to save lives before charging patients.
This is fascinating to me. You've said things I've never considered, so I'm going to run down some things. Healthcare should be a human right. Move. Really? Nobody moved?
I think it's like the primary positive right. When we're thinking positive rights, I think that alongside food is like food security is one of those positive rights that really are at the core of the question.
Why did you move?
I would love it if all humans could get healthcare, but I don't think it's naturally owed to them by any other people.
All human rights come from people and their governments. Move.
I don't understand the question.
In other words, human beings determine or define what is a human right as opposed to an ancient book.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you really doubled down there. Why? Tell him why.
The word ancient book.
Oh, the word ancient book. Okay, maybe that was too much of a tell on my part. Okay. Okay, new one. It is possible for a right to be natural. Move. It is possible for a right to be natural. We can be wrong about what's a human right. In the past, people were wrong about rights in the West. Move. Rights require some duties. Move. Okay, come on over. So is it fair to say that we can characterize the position you've articulated as rights should depend on what a citizenry can afford?
I think so.
Okay. Rights should depend on what a citizenry can afford. Move. Rights should depend on what a citizenry can afford. Okay. In crystal clear language, explain that to them. And are you on strongly disagree or absolutely? Okay. So you got two absolutely disagrees and one strongly disagree. Explain that claim, please.
I would like to maybe elaborate on what the claim means. Like if we literally squeeze everything and make everything perfectly equal for everyone, they will just the people that are contributing the most will just leave and go somewhere where they aren't squeezed for, and that makes the citizenry as a whole poor. So it's like there should be some negotiation between the citizenry that are contributing and what they're getting, and the land where they live. For example, if you live in California, you're paying higher taxes than the rest of the country, but you live in California, which is like a naturally beautiful state. There's lots to do. There's a lot going for California that's worth paying those taxes. Yeah, I just want to make sure that I don't literally mean equalize everyone and squeeze everything out of the top class, because then they'll just leave.
So rights should depend on what a citizenry can afford. Maybe we need to disambiguate some of those words, but was that clear to you what he meant?
I believe so.
Okay, tell him what you think he meant so I can understand it.
Theo, I think you meant that a citizen's rights are the minimum obligations that the country or the citizenship as a whole owes to the individual. And those minimums change as the society changes. As the society gets more affluent, the minimums change and can raise. But the minimums should never, or do never conflict with the state of the society at whole. So like an organism example would be, as an organism gets more and more resources, it can provide more to things like doing our fingernails nicely. But if the organism as a whole is in a state of resource lack, then it can't give as much to the smaller pieces.
Okay, is that basically correct?
Yes.
Okay, explain this because I'm struggling with this. How do we know what the minimum is?
That's what I was going to respond to. That I absolutely agree that the minimum that a society can provide to individuals does raise. As a description, you're absolutely correct, and I absolutely agree that the society should constantly negotiate what it can provide. But we should distinguish rights and positive contribution minimums. A right is something that's self-evident and inalienable, and it's not disputable by the citizenship. I want, and I think you would want, certain things that are undisputable by the citizenship, like your right to life and property, perhaps. That no matter what everyone else says, the citizenship can't just decide that Theo's life isn't valuable at all. However, we should be able to decide if we can afford to pay for bus transit. And so it's important to distinguish what's undisputable and what is disputable, because the fact that we can afford bus transit or a minimum health care is not self-evident.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm still struggling to figure this out. So how do we figure out in whose jurisdiction these things fall? Like, is it communal? Is it legal?
That's right. I believe that there should be a difference between what's indisputable and what systems of government and policy are there for us all to decide whether or not we can afford.
Okay, but maybe I'm sorry I'm struggling. I really I'm genuinely trying to understand the claim. Like, I'm sincere. So aren't those subject to the moral capriciousness of the age?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Right.
so if they're subject to the moral capriciousness of the age, then the claim doesn't even make any sense.
Well, rights are the things that we want to protect from the moral capriciousness of the age. And then what we can afford is a function of each individual's actions and property and social relationships.
So some of these things are like subspecie aeternitatis. They're like timeless.
I think my position doesn't depend on that, but I believe that is the case.
Okay, you've helped me understand. Thank you. They're thinking I'm retarded, Reed. Did he get it right?
I think that the difference is that I don't believe rights are self-evident or come from nature or inalienable. Rights have been proven to be the rights in our Constitution, for example, have proven to be good. Most of them have proven.
Did you see the difference, though? The moment that you say most, the whole enterprise collapses. The whole position falls. It's all miscalibrated. Hey, did you know only half of you watching are subscribed? If you're enjoying the content, hit the subscribe button to keep the videos coming. Thanks.